right, welcome to Crossfire. This is channel 196 on Star Times. This is Cool TV station in Lagos. You are welcome to another very interesting episode of our show. Man may go and man may come, but the footprints of those who have left will ever remain indelible. That is a saying, and I love it so much. We have a very interesting episode. Today is the very first day in the month of April, and we are here in the studio bringing you information that will help you a great deal. Any moment from now, we are waiting for the announcement of who wins the 2015 elections between President Jonathan and Mr. Muhammadu Buhari, General Muhammadu Buhari. I know that by the time INEC comes up with the final results, by the time they added the last three results, believe you me, I am just looking for a surprise. I'm looking for the game changer. I'm just looking for something that will make this election in 2015 a very unique one. I'm not going to be doing this alone. I have with me in the studio my co-anchor, Barrister Ishoma Againe. Ishoma, how are you doing?
I'm very fine with my.
All right, and we're not alone in the studio. We have these two gentlemen who are political analysts. They're journalists, and they are very good at what they do. One of them is really very familiar, and the second one is also familiar, but you may not have seen him on this show before now. Let's welcome to the studio and for our discussions today, Mr. Gbenga Aborowa.
You're welcome.
How you doing?
All right, I'm very well. And then we have these other gentlemen joining us yet in the studio to do the show today. He's a unique personality. Some of you probably have been listening to him on the radio, but he has a unique voice, the type that I really respect so much, the texture and everything about it. It sounds really, really very catchy. All right, welcome to the studio, Mr. Chuks Ene.
Thank you, Divine. My head was about falling off.
Now, gentlemen and lady, let's quickly look at what is happening, especially in the presidential election. The election took place, last Saturday, and it spilled over into Sunday. And I believe that all results are being collated as we speak. And INEC is sitting on that, trying to ensure that, there are no discrepancies in what has been earlier reported. And, the anticipation in the air is so thick, and because people really don't know who the next president of Nigeria is going to be. And that's why I quickly need to take your thoughts. Gbenga, who do you think eventually will emerge as the president of Nigeria?
It's a two-horse race, and it's, the race is heating up, and any moment from now, it's still too close to call. I'm not going to stick my head out and say, oh, this candidate is going to win. Very close call.
Chuks, what about you?
Well, looking at the way things have played out, the general seems to be, pulling some weight. But I'm looking at the power of incumbency being a factor. So the incumbent president, President Goodluck Jonathan, may just steal it.
Because, anyway, let me take Ishoma's thoughts. Ishoma, what's your position on this?
You already know my position on this, that General Muhammadu Buhari is going to get this.
I can imagine. You see, don't forget that there was a big twist. I remembered in 2011, very close race, as it were, but at a point in time when 28 states results were announced, President Goodluck Jonathan was particularly leading, I think about 18.7 million, while General Buhari of CPC then, was, had about 8.5th million votes. There was a clear-cut 10 million, votes, But today, do you see, the general seems to be leading as we speak, until we have all the other three results from the, remaining state, Delta, Edo, and Borno State. And then what do you think by the time this result comes in? Do you think the general will still maintain this lead?
This is what I see. Good one.
All right. I mean, if you're watching us and you think this is probably a repeat broadcast, they must have done this before the general was declared as the winner of the elections, and then you have to think again. Today is April 1st, and don't forget, it's April Fool. What you just saw was just, we're just trying to mess up with your brains. But notwithstanding, if you are caught up in that crossfire, then you definitely, you're not in the mood, for the month of April.
That means we got them.
Oh, of course, of course. And I'm very sure a lot of people will. Definitely.
I'm sure the person would have been wondering.
They would have been, where did these guys
where are
come
these
from?
people? Are they from the moon?
Exactly. They're so late.
All right, we want to say a very big congratulations to the general. I mean, the 2015 elections came, presidential election came and is gone. We've seen the winner and then we've seen the loser. And I believe very strongly from all the trappings and all the things that we have heard all over the night into this morning, we have seen the magnanimity of the general, because he's been extremely magnanimous in victory. He has actually appreciated the call that the incumbent president made to him about 5:15 yesterday evening, congratulating the general for winning the elections. And to be very sincere with you, we'll be talking today about the winning of the general and the peculiarity of the elections in 2015, especially the presidential election. Look at it, Benga. Yesterday, General Buhari emerged as the next president of Nigeria.
In the early hours of this morning, even before then, at 5:15 p.m. yesterday, President Goodluck Jonathan placed a call to the People's General, as is affectionately referred to, and congratulated him. I thought that was a step, a big milestone in the history of Nigeria. Never in the history of Nigeria has an incumbent conceded defeat even before the official pronouncement, and that was very statesmanlike and big of him. And I would like to say a big congratulations to all Nigerians, because we're all winners here. It's all about setting Nigeria on the right path and building towards this. So, but the general has his work cut out for him. This is a very crucial time in terms of security and the economy, and of course we do need to factor in the fact that global crude oil prices are dropping. Nigeria is hemorrhaging revenue, so it's not an easy job. Right from the word go, is going to have an uphill task in governing the country.
All right, I know Chooks to be a pro-Nigerian. I know, a few times we've talked about elections, especially when, during the build-up and the election proper. I know that, you played a very particular role trying to just ensure that the government of the day is not ill-spoken about and all of that. And not particularly because you are, you are not inclined towards believing in the ideologies of politics, general politics in Nigeria. But truth is, how do you feel about the victory won by General Buhari yesterday?
What encapsulates my thoughts about this is on my Facebook page. I said something. As soon as we had 3 states left, I just said congratulations to the general. Kudos to his resilience. Kudos to his persistence. That, for me, is a big lesson to every individual, every living person, that the Abraham Lincoln story isn't just a fable. It does happen. It did happen. It can still happen. If you stick to your guns, pursue your dreams, doggedly, sometime, somewhere, you will get results. So for me, it's all about a victory for Nigerians. I said something also on Facebook. I said, people, it's not a time to begin to taunt somebody who didn't believe in what you believed. The beauty of democracy, which we cherish and practice, is we can't all see things from the same perspective. The day Benga and I begin to see things, and I'm using Benga and I as maybe 2 of us are the only Nigerians existing, begin to see things from the same perspective, democracy loses its milk, its value. The disagreement, the debate is what enriches democracy. Now, when all that debate and arguments are all done with, and elections have been held, and somebody emerges, now what shows you to be a true Democrat, whichever side of the divide you belongs to, is how we all now rally around behind who the majority. Like I said, President Goodluck Jonathan's 12 million votes plus is the minority having their say. General Buhari's 14 million votes plus is the majority having their way and their victory. Now we all team together as one unit to make a greater Nigeria. Because whether we like it or not, he is going to be the president of the minorities who had their say and the majorities who have their way. They're not going to say, those who didn't vote for the general, go to Ghana or go to where else.
You have special roads constructed for
Antarctica or the Arctic Circle. So it's all one Nigeria. Next elections, the beauty for me is people now have an assurance that their votes count. There's an assurance, there's a renewed vigor in Nigeria that yes, finally, we can vote and vote people out.
And faith in the electoral process.
Kudos to Jega, kudos to to President Jonathan, kudos to the general for his resilience. For me, it's a win-win-win for everybody. And I'm happy that the incumbent president saw it that way and, played the statesman and just said, congratulations.
Really and truly, Chooks, I sat back late, early this morning, and I felt like really congratulating, President Goodluck Jonathan. Not because particularly because he did not win the elections, obviously. So I'm not congratulating him for losing either. I'm just simply saying that if Nigeria anticipates this change this much, and it still does not come, I just wish we see Nigeria with the general not winning. But unfortunately, we can't see that because the general actually won.
If you want to know my take on that,
yeah.
For me, at the back of my mind, I had my own leanings. But on the other part of my thinking, I was saying it will be safer. Now, we're talking about what would have happened. Honestly, for me, I believe it would be and has shown that it's safer if the general wins. If he hadn't won, whether by commission or omission, that's a different argument. If he hadn't won, we won't have this peace we're having now.
Anyway, I doubt that.
Think so?
All right, I want to say very big congratulations to Ishoma anyway. Yeah, it's hypothetical. You can't be so sure.
We've been there before.
That was before the coalition.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a different platform.
And Nigerians right now are more balanced.
Nigerians
right now are more balanced.
The Nigerians you experience down south, the Nigerians you see, in all the previous times, the issues weren't even down south, where you experience every day and you see every day. The reactions came from certain regions. And let us not discountenance that fact. Indeed, before the elections, you don't want to know how many millions of Southerners. I have a family friend who lost her dad in that mass movement away from certain regions because of fear. I tell you, we're happy. We shouldn't go back and say, okay, but we're happy it happened the way it happened. But I want to believe if it hadn't happened, perhaps.
And besides, there's no basis for that. Exactly. It's a celebratory mood. And I would like to congratulate Nigerians from the intrigues that started. It all started from the postponement of the elections.
Exactly.
And Nigerians, I mean, if you look at, we have the luxury of hindsight to look back at the way events played out. 10 million PVCs were distributed between February 14th and February 28th. Exactly. So it was a good, March 28th. So it was a good thing the elections were postponed. And they had more time to campaign, and we're better off.
Now, do you think if the elections were not postponed, do you think
the
PDP would have been able to get the kind
of... I don't want that question. I've not seen you in a celebration mood. I mean,
really?
This is victory for Ishoma.
I know.
Yeah, this is victory for you.
Of
big
course,
victory.
Because I can't stand here and begin to job in.
Why not? I mean, see, your customers are home.
Customers.
Yes, I mean, because I know a lot of people call on the show to patronize you. A lot of people call
my
to congratulate. Yes, I'm expecting them to call in today and congratulate you, for the victory APC won. I mean,
but I think this is not just about the APC, right? I think this is a victory for our democratic process. This is victory for all Nigerians, home and abroad. And guess what? A lot of Nigerians who left the shores of this country in search of greener pastures are all looking at the possibilities of returning home soon. Why? Because they see this as a new dawn for Nigeria.
I agree. We have always
This is
supported
a
you
new
on the
dawn
show, but
for
I
Nigeria.
would like to say we should take things easy.
Yeah,
and
but
we should
then,
be
of
more
course,
realistic
with
our
expectations.
Very
Yeah,
true.
because
Because, I mean, the general is not a miracle worker and is not a messiah.
Expectations
He might
need to be well managed this
I
time,
mean,
yeah.
he's just going to come in to set things on
Right.
the right path, and it's a new beginning and a
Very
new slate.
true.
I think Benga captures it very rightly. One of the biggest drawbacks, or one of the biggest issues we might end up having is failed expectations. Now, when I say failed expectations, I'm not sitting here and saying he will not perform. But I'm sitting here and saying it happened to Obama. I don't want to, let me not say it happened to Jonathan, because that might create a debate we don't even need. But let's use, an extraneous example so that we will keep it, neutral. It happened to Obama. Obama came into power.
Okay, before you go, you go on with that analysis. We'll quickly go on our first break, and then when we come back, we'll take you through the next important issues we'll be discussing on the show, and we'll be right back.